Hello, good evening and salam Malaysia Madani. You're watching Malaysia Tonight with me, SAHIH. Our top stories. Telegram meeting intended to establish cooperation in curbing criminal activities. "44-degree programs at IPTA to be shortened to 3 years. The highest number of online fraud complaints received by the Ministry of Communications and Digital, or KKD, since the beginning of this year involve Facebook sites. Deputy Minister Teo Ni Ching said during that period until 25th May, the ministry received a total of 744 complaints. The second highest complaints involving Telegram service provider is 17, followed by WhatsApp with 16 and email with 1 complaint. She said the figure clearly shows the importance of cooperation between the government and social media platform providers so that such criminal cases are acted upon immediately.
Kami faham semua itu pembeli platform ini ataupun penyedia platform ini ada community guidelines mereka masing-masing. Jadi itu memang sangat-sangat common. Tetapi walaupun begitu, TikTok berjumpa dengan kami, KKD. Facebook berjumpa dengan kami. Google berjumpa dengan kami. Apabila kita mengadakan perjumpaan, itu adalah untuk pastikan bahawa aktiviti-aktiviti yang haram yang memang menyalahi undang-undang boleh diambil tindakan secepat mungkin. Memang kalau ada ucapan-ucapan yang bersifat kita rasa pergauman dan sebagainya, kami boleh hantari situ kepada penyedia platform. Tetapi penyedia platform itu masih akan guna pakai ataupun merujuk kepada garis panduan komuniti mereka untuk buat keputusan masing-masing. Sama ada konten tersebut mereka akan dipadamkan atau tidak.
She said this at a press conference after the program menonton wayang bersama komuniti Polis Kulai in Johor Bahru. At the same event, the Deputy Minister was asked to comment on Telegram's refusal to hold a meeting with KKD due to not wanting to participate in any form of politically related censorship. She added that the purpose of the meeting was to establish cooperation in curbing criminal activities and not of a political nature or interfering with freedom of expression.
Sebab tu perjumpaan amat-amat penting. Tetapi bagi Telegram, mereka langsung tak mau jumpa. Mereka langsung tak mau jumpa. Dan kita tahu bahawa ada aktiviti-aktiviti haram yang tengah berlangsung mengguna pakai Telegram ini. Sepertilah penjualan darah. Sepertilah penjualan ataupun pornografi ataupun penjualan tentanglah medicine yang illegal. Jadi tindakan perlu diambil terhadap aktiviti-aktiviti tersebut. Tetapi hanya cakap bahawa tak mahu ada political interference, that is an easy excuse, but I don't think it is the actual fact.
Meanwhile, Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Ahmad Zahid Hamidi had asked the KKD and MCMC to monitor any postings with narratives of race and religion triggered by politicians. He reminded all parties, especially politicians, not to do so, as action can be taken in accordance with Section 233 of the Communications and Multimedia Act. Teo added that the public and politicians are also advised not to misuse social media platforms by issuing statements mixed with hatred, racism and religion, especially in the run-up to state election. The Ministry of Higher Education will introduce a hybrid and flexible learning system at universities. Its Minister Datuk Seri Muhammad Khalid Nordin said under the system, tertiary students will attend lectures at the university for the first and final year of their studies only. Commenting further on the matter, the minister said in the middle years, students will be given a choice and the flexibility to study from home without having to attend physical classes. He said this during the closing ceremony of the Jom Masuk U 2023 program and the launch of the Institutions of Technical and Vocational Education and Training (TVET) foundation program at University of Malaya in the Federal Capital. On the same note, the minister said that the duration of study for some programs would be shortened from 4 to 3 years. He said the Higher Education Ministry always updates programs and courses offered by higher education institutions all over the country.
Dan kita juga telah kenal pasti beberapa program yang sebenarnya tak perlu sampai 4 tahun belajar. Kalau belajar 4 tahun lah kena pinjam dengan PTTN. So kita kenal pasti beberapa program boleh dijayakan dalam masa 3 tahun. Itu dalam 44 program.
Datuk Sri Khalid added that a total of 10,000 students who are the first representative of the B40 family will be fully exempted from tuition fees at all public universities under the Family's First Student Development Program initiative. He also said that the ministry will allocate approximately 30 million ringgit to all public universities. Datuk Sri Khalid added that hopefully with this initiative, the first representative of the B40 family who successfully enters higher education institutes will be able to pursue their studies with comfortable, quiet and high performance. The Ministry of Human Resources is drafting a policy to provide social security for gig economy workers involved in e-hailing services so that they are not discriminated against by their employers. When met reporters in Butterworth today, Minister V. Sivakumar said the ministry is formulating the policy at the ministerial level and expects to receive guidelines on the matter from his officials in the next 2 weeks.
Oleh yang demikian, Kementerian Semua Manusia sedang merangka dasar polisi untuk melihat bagaimanakah kerajaan boleh membantu supaya golongan pekerja gig ini tidak didiskriminasi oleh majikan, dan yang kedua perlindungan sosial yang boleh diberikan kepada mereka. Dan mungkin dalam seminggu 2 garis panduan itu akan saya akan terima daripada pihak pegawai-pegawai Kementerian Semua Manusia, dan selepas saya telitikan benda ini dan
He said the ministry did not reject a proposal to enact an act involving e-hailing workers. However, this will take a long time. He added that the government for now will create a policy first and then study in detail the need for drafting the special act. Asked for his opinion on employers' complaints regarding the difficulty of achieving a ratio of 80-20 for local and foreign labour, Sivakumar said employers need to offer attractive facilities in addition to increasing wages. The Defence Ministry, MINDEF, is preparing a national defence industry policy that will be launched this year to expand the industry by creating more jobs in the field. Deputy Defence Minister Adli Zahari said the ministry is currently preparing documents relating to the policy and expressed confidence that the defence industry could produce high-income jobs for locals. Speaking to reporters after a town hall session with students at Sultan Abdul Halim Muazzam Shah Polytechnic Polymas in Jitra, Kedah today, Adli said the policy would also play a role in producing more students from the National Defence University of Malaysia, UPNM, with the expertise in operating high-tech national defence assets in the future. Looking at cyber security, he said, it is a new aspect in the defence world and it is the reason why MINDEF wants to prepare this capability in students, while at the same time try to match it to the needs at MINDEF. Adli also said that the marketable of UPNM students would not be limited to the defence industry. Coming up next, Ziarah Rahmah for elderly detection of health issues among pilgrims. Tabung Haji TH is offering a room-to-room health check for pilgrims under its Ziarah Rahmah program. Public Health Unit Operations Coordinator Dr. Nur Fatia O. Abdullah said the initiative helps early detection of health issues faced by pilgrims. Dr. Nur Fatia said they also use the opportunity to deliver health education to the pilgrims to ensure they are healthy to perform wukuf in Arafah, the peak of the Hajj pilgrimage. She also said that Malaysia is the only country that conducts room-to-room health program during the Hajj season to identify pilgrims with health problems to be referred to the clinics and medical experts provided by TH. The public health specialist said so far, her team consisting of 11 personnel have visited 12,000 pilgrims staying in 2,550 251 rooms in Medina and Mecca. She said of that number, 175 pilgrims were suffering from health issues, including breathing problems, coughing, colds, dry skin and knee pain. Dr. Nur Fatia said they aim to visit all pilgrims' accommodations by Wukuf Day. The Malacca government is seeking an allocation of 20 million ringgit from the Tourism, Arts and Culture Ministry, MOTAC, to upgrade tourism products in the state ahead of the Visit Malacca Year 2024 or TMM 2024. State Tourism, Heritage, Arts and Culture Committee Chairman Dato' Abdul Razak Abdul Rahman said the upgrading works involve aspects of lighting, repair of facilities and cleanliness for the comfort and safety of tourists. Apart from that, the state government has also set aside some allocation to implement various preparations and improvements for TMM 2024. He said this after inspecting tourism products around Bandar Hile and Jonkers Walk in Malacca earlier today. He also said that the state's preparation for TMM 2024 are 70% complete and believe that it would reach 100% soon through the cooperation of all parties, including government departments and agencies as well as tourism industry players in the state. In another development, Dato' Abdul Razak said a detailed study needs to be done on the proposed implementation of the vehicle-free zone in Bandar Hile, including taking into account the views and feedback from industry players, traders, tourists and the local community. He added that this is to provide comfort to all quarters, especially tourists, as the road closure will be implemented in public areas. The state government will place log booms at 12 pollution hotspots to trap rubbish along Sungai Kudai. Johor Menteri Besar Dato' Onn Hafiz Ghazi, the move was part of the efforts to ensure that the target of making Sungai Kudai clean could be achieved in September this year. Dato' Onn Hafiz said it is a huge task, but he believes that if all parties work together, the rivers in Johor State can be cleaned, starting with Sungai Kudai. The target for the cleaning work in Sungai Kudai to be carried out until September, and it is expected to be carried to a level that will reduce the level of pollution. He said this after officiating the Johor Bersih at Sungai program at Sungai Kudai earlier. Other identified hotspots are Melana Indah Hardcore Poor Housing Program, Sungai Melana, Taman Damai Jaya, Sungai Melana, Kampung Laut, Kampung Pertanian and Kampung Separa as well as Kampung Melayu Sengkang. He said Sungai Tebrau and Sungai Kim Kim are also listed as the 10 most polluted rivers in the country and added that cleaning works at the two rivers will be carried out following the progress at Sungai Kudai. Minister supervises crash restoration and cause investigation underway. That and more coming up in our foreign segment. Stay tuned. Chinese Minister of National Defence Li Shangfu at the ShangriLa Dialogue in Singapore today said the Chinese military will not hesitate for 1 second to take action if anyone dares to separate Taiwan from the country. Noting that Taiwan is at the core of China's core interests and that the Taiwan question is China's internal affair, Li said the One China principle has become a universally recognized basic norm in international relations, and any act that fudges and hollows out it is ridiculous and dangerous. People across the world have seen clearly that the DPP authorities who keep soliciting foreign support for Taiwan's secession and the external forces who seek to contain China with Taiwan and interfere in China's internal affairs are the root causes of tensions in the Taiwan Strait and the largest troublemakers that are changing the status quo in the Strait, Li said. Li stressed that China must and will be reunited as it represents the will of the people and the general trend of the world, stressed the minister. The 20th ShangriLa Dialogue opened in Singapore on Friday with a focus on identifying challenges to security and exploring solutions across the Asia-Pacific region. Dubbed as Asia's premier defence summit, the event is where ministers debate the region's security challenges, engage in important bilateral talks and come up with fresh approaches. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Dato' Sri Anwar Ibrahim today expressed his sadness over the tragic railway accident in the state of Odisha, India. Also expressing sadness over the incident was the Prime Minister's wife, Dato' Sri Dr. Wan Azizah Wan Ismail. Through a tweet on his account, Datuk Sri Anwar said that on behalf of the government and people of Malaysia, he also expresses the country's heartfelt condolences to the families of the victims and those who are affected by the accident. The Prime Minister said during this difficult time, Malaysia's thought and prayers are with India. According to the news report, the Friday train collision claimed nearly 300 lives and more than 1,000 were injured. It was believed that the evening collision was due to a technical problem. Railway Minister Ashwini Vaishal visited the site of India's worst train crash in decades today to monitor restoration works as investigation into the cause of the disaster got underway. At least 288 people were killed on Friday when a passenger train went off the tracks and hit another one.
इस विषय में पॉइंट मशीन की बात है, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक इंटरलॉकिंग की बात है। इलेक्ट्रॉनिक इंटरलॉकिंग में जो चेंज किया जिसके कारण ये दुर्घटना हुई, जिसने भी किया, जो भी इसके कारण है वो इन्वेस्टिगेशन से निकलेगा।
The passenger trains were moving at speed close to 130 kilometers per hour when they collided. Indian Railways say it transports more than 13 million people every day, but the state-run monopoly has had a patchy safety record because of aging infrastructure. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who faces an election due to next year, visited the scene on Saturday to talk to rescue workers, inspect the wreckage and meet some of the nearly 1,200 injured. The Southeastern Railway has said a preliminary report indicated that the accident was the result of signal failure. India has one of the world's largest rail networks and has seen several disasters over the years. The worst of them in 1981 when a train derailed while crossing a bridge in Bihar and plunged into the river below, killing between 800 and 1,000 people. Heavy and sustained clashes between the warring parties could be heard in many parts of Sudan yesterday as a fragile ceasefire deal that had brought some respite from a weeks-long conflict expired on the day. The fighting between the Sudanese Armed Forces (SAR) and the rival Rapid Support Forces (RSF) has persisted despite related truces. The latest agreement, which expired yesterday evening, was signed in Jeddah of Saudi Arabia on 20th May between representatives of the two sides for 7 days of humanitarian assistance. The deal entered into force on 22nd May and was then extended for an additional 5 days on 30th May. The SAR announced on Friday they were sending additional troops to drive the RSF out of Sudan's greater capital area, which comprises Khartoum, Omdurman and Khartoum North. The two sides were then locked in fierce battles over the country's mint, the state television building, a military base in south of Khartoum and industrial zone in the west. The SAF used warplanes during the fighting and the RSF also responded with airstrikes. Meanwhile, the Saudi ministry and the US said today that Saudi Arabia's foreign ministry and the United States call on Sudan's warring factions to agree to a new ceasefire and make efforts to implement it effectively. They added that both countries are keen to continue talks with two Sudanese negotiating delegations. Coming up in sports, BWF has strong reasons for giving recognition to Dato' Lee Chong Wei. The Ministry of Youth and Sports, KBS, believes that the Badminton World Federation, BWF, has strong reasons for giving recognition to the country's legend, Dato' Lee Chong Wei. Its Minister, Hannah Yeoh, said that Dato' Chong Wei's introduction into the 2023 BWF Hall of Fame was also based on the BWF data and statistics. Elaborating further on the matter, Hannah said that she was there when Dato' Chong Wei received the award and the recognition for Lindan and added that Malaysia is really proud of his achievements. She said this when asked to comment on the statement of former Indonesian badminton champion Taufik Hidayat on social media, who questioned Dato' Chong Wei's induction into the Hall of Fame along with China's Lindan. In the video, Taufik also admitted that Lindan was more deserving and he questioned the existence of the name of the Malaysian player in the list. On 26 May, Dato' Chong Chong Wei and Lin Dan were inducted into the BWF Badminton Hall of Fame for their achievement and contributions to the sport by being among the most influential and transformative players throughout their careers. Datuk Chong Wei dominance in the badminton arena saw him win 47 Super Series or BWF World Tour titles during his 19-year tenure and held the world number 1 ranking for 349 weeks. The Malaysian Hockey Confederation (MHC) plan to have permanent players for the men's and women's indoor hockey squads in the future. MHC President Datuk Sri Subhan Kamal said what happened at the 2023 SEA Games in Phnom Penh, Cambodia, opened MHC's eyes to ensure that the national indoor hockey squads are lined up with players on a permanent basis, since Malaysia has great potential to dominate these events.
We need to find permanent indoor hockey players. That means you just play indoor. Because dulu sebelum ni, dia orang angkat muat yang senior, yang field senior, wanita senior, to make the team stronger, which they will be strong.
He also noted that to give full support to the indoor hockey squads, MHC wants to establish a full-time program for the players, especially with the World Cup qualification starting next year. Regarding the performance of the men and women's indoor hockey squads at the SEA Games, Datuk Sri Kamal said that he was still proud of their achievement despite failing to defend the goal after only bringing home 2 silver in Cambodia. He said the national squad faced financial constraints and only had a month to undergo full-time training, especially in the fasting month, after they were busy with commitments with the field hockey teams compared to challengers like Indonesia and Thailand, who reportedly invested millions of ringgit, including going on international tour for a year before the SEA Games. The Johor Darul Takzim FC JDT juggernaut just keeps rolling on. The Southern Tigers managed to keep a clean record in the Super League by winning all 13 matches they played thus far after defeating Penang FC 2-0 at the City Stadium last night. JDT head coach Esteban Solari said he was very satisfied with the performance of all his men who played gallantly last night.
I think first half, the first minute took us maybe 15-20 minutes to come in the game, but I think we deserve to score like we did, because we look for the goal always, and then the second half we control and we could score even more goals.
Elaborating further, Solari said that the Southern Tigers will try to maintain their unbeaten record when they play Terengganu FC next. Meanwhile, Penang FC assistant head coach Manzur Azwira Abdul Wahid said that despite not being able to score points in the match, he was still satisfied with the quality of play shown by his men in facing the Super League leaders. JDT will play against Terengganu FC on 9th June at Sultan Mizan Zainal Abidin Stadium, while Penang FC, who are now in 9th place in the league, will meet KL City FC on 8th June at the City Stadium. Eden Hazard will leave Real Madrid at the end of the season after agreeing to terminate his contract a year early. The former Belgium international 32 joined Real in 2019 and became the Spanish club's most expensive signing in history, but he has been restricted by several injury problems and struggled to settle at the Santiago Bernabeu. During his time with Real, Hazard won a number of trophies, including the Champions League and 2 La Liga titles. He was limited to 392 minutes in the 2022-2023 season and has not completed a full match for the side since December 2021, a lack of game time that affected his form for club and country. He had a poor World Cup in Qatar with Belgium as they exited in the pool stage and made the decision to retire from international football after the tournament. Hazard joined Real from Chelsea for a club record fee that was reported as an initial amount of £88.5 million before adds-on and a weekly salary of £400,000, making him one of the team's top earners. Having the midfielder of the wage bill for the next season will potentially allow Real to target a new forward, with coach Carlo Ancelotti admitting he expects a number of fresh faces to arrive. Real have also confirmed the departures of attacking midfielder Marco Asensio and striker Mariano Diaz. Tunisian 7-seed Ons Jabeur overcame a bad start to reach the 4th round of the French Open with a 4-6, 6-4, 6-2 victory over Serbian qualifier Olga Danilovic today. Jabeur, who has endured a stop-start season in which she had minor knee surgery before winning the title in Charleston and skipping the Madrid Open with a calf problem, was slow out of the starting blocks, and Danilovic took full advantage of it before experience prevailed.
Boleh saya bantu?
Hello, there's been a motorcycle accident here. Maybe an elephant ran it over.
Sir, there is fire accident at the address number 5 Jalan Tembikar Shah Alam.
PGO from FRT Shah Alam, there was no fire accident here. Over.
MERS 999. Use it wisely.
And that wraps up Malaysia Tonight, a reminder of our top story. Telegram meeting intended to establish cooperation in curbing criminal activities. I'm SAHIH Samsudin, Malaysia Madani, tekad penuhi harapan. Have a pleasant evening.